this is Maurice from the Triple M Model Railroad. As you can see here, I'm showcasing one of my models, and this one is actually a GE U50C from Athearn. And this model is about, I believe, at least several years old. I believe I got it about 5 years ago. And this is one of my projects. And I like this engine for some reason. It's an ugly engine, but I do like it. And I may be planning to get maybe one or two more in the future. Athearn is going to release another run of these, so I have an opportunity to get I believe 9951 and 9952. If I'm not mistaken, the only Southern Pacific only got, I believe, 3 of these, if memory serves. And this engine, the actual prototype, was made back in the, I believe it was the early 70s. And it didn't last very long. They didn't really use it, I mean, all that much. I believe they only used it for at least 10 years before they scrapped it. But it's a dual engine, 2 GE. I don't know the exact prototype of the engines, but it's a dual engine, and it was rated at over 5,000 horsepower or something like that. It wasn't very reliable, as from what I've heard and from what I've read. Basically, if one engine dies, the whole engine is basically useless. The whole locomotive is inoperable if one of the engine dies. Both engines have to be running for this locomotive to actually function. I mean, that was an interesting tidbit. Basically, what is my plans with this engine? It doesn't have a decoder. I mean, this was the first run, so strange enough, they didn't come with a decoder at the time. And it was labeled as a ready to run. Not a Genesis model, which I kind of found kind of strange why they didn't make this a Genesis model. I mean, this is so well detailed. And it's basically sitting on a turbine chassis. As you can see, it has the BB trucks, and basically it's the same. It's relatively the same chassis. So I find it kind of strange that Athearn didn't actually put decoders in them. Now, the wiring in this model is pretty complicated. I don't know, for some reason these type of engines, including Athearn and MTH, the wiring is pretty complex, and they got quite a few PCB boards installed in them. But one thing I have to say about the detailing of this model is very well done. Very well done. You can see through this grid, and you can see part of the engine bay. And this is the front. And this is the back of the engine itself. I mean, very nice model, very well done, very well put together. I don't have all the pieces on. I mean, for some reason, Athearn didn't put the rear ladders on, which you can see here. They haven't put the ladders on. I guess they leave it up to the user or to actually put the ladders on. The model runs pretty well. It's just, I mean, I have it set up to my Spectrum AC basically controller just to test this thing out. Let's try it out right now. This Spectrum, which is called the Spectrum Magnum, doesn't work very well in reverse. I think something wrong with the button, but let's see if I can get it working reverse. Okay, here we go. Very quiet, runs very smooth. Now, ESU have recently released the actual sounds. Well, it's not really actual sounds, but it's the best they can get because there's no surviving prototypes of this particular prototype of this locomotive. And they did the best they can to come up with how it may have sound. They got the correct prime movers actually to simulate the sounds of dual engines. So it's actually on the website. I believe I did download it and experimented with my decoder tester. And it sounds pretty good. It really does. Now, the type of decoder I'm going to get from ESU is probably the version 4s. And the reason why I want to get a version 4 for this, because you can actually customize. It's more customizable when it comes to the sounds and the lights. And I'll probably do another video on that once I've decided to actually update this or upgrade this particular model, because it's kind of hard to explain. You have to see what I'm talking about. I mean, ESU has a very complex way of setting up the sound files and when certain sounds happen and all this type of stuff. And this is only with the version 4s. It basically has a schematic display on the actual program that actually programs these decoders. So let's see if I can pop the top off of this for a second. And I think, oh, good. There you go. So this is the inside of it. Look at all this lovely wiring. Yeah, this is not. This I would have to figure out how to get this decoders and stuff installed. Speakers, I have a good idea what I'm going to use. For the speakers, I'm going to use these new Sugar Cube speakers. They might slip in there. I'm not quite sure. I mean, should better fit somewhere. They'll definitely fit back here. Yeah. Sugar. Getting tongue-tied here. Sugar Cube speakers. They work very well. And I was talking with someone at the local hobby shop about them, and he swears by them. He said the sound quality is actually amazing on these things. So I'm not gonna. This is gonna be a kind of a short video compared to what I've released recently, but I just want to do a quick showcasing of this model, and I will have more videos on this, the upgrade and the sound upgrades and the programming. So stay tuned and have a good evening.